Wassail, beautiful people. So, it's full moon in Leo, Thursday, 25th of January, maybe 26th, if you're a little bit ahead of the UTC curve. So it takes place at 17:53 GMT, or Universal Time. The sun will be at 5 degrees of Aquarius and the moon at 5 degrees of Leo. So we have fixed air and fixed fire. So this really is a moon that challenges us to break old patterns, to move past our fixed notions, our fixed philosophies, so that we can find room, open a channel for some kind of new narrative to enter our lives. And look, we're on the threshold of a transformation of 20 years. This is big, big energy. So pick a pile, see what comes, and you will find additional 4-card napkin readings over on SoundCloud. The links will be in the description box below. But for now, have a look at the 3 cards and the 3 runes and make your selection for your new tune. Did you pick Monas Hieroglyphica and Sigil, which is rune 16, 12, 16, 75, 16. So Monas Hieroglyphica is John Dee. It's the symbol he created to be his kind of alchemical symbol signature. There's something of a solar eclipse frequency on this, so very powerful energies, sacred geometry with all of the geometrical patterns layered over the artwork. This is secret wisdom, a masterclass. So this is an opportunity with this full moon in Leo to discover something about your life force. Sigil is the sun, the life force. And again, there's that energy of the moon eclipsing the sun, some kind of release. There is a frequency of the moon being in house 12 at this point in a kind of mundane astrology. So it's a really big release before we begin this new year with the new moon in Aquarius that's coming up next in the next fortnight. So your overall spread, you've got both the moon in Scorpio and the sun in Scorpio. You've got the card of rot. So you've got all these energies about release, transformation, rebirthing. Wow, I say rebirthing. It's really a re-death to rebirth. And that's what it feels like when you have moon in Scorpio as your first card, besting bête noires, beating the beasts of the dark, the things that you can't ordinarily move past, the blockages. So you have the song, I Can See Clearly Now, all obstacles that are in the way. There's something here about the opportunity to see a pathway through to the next journey that you're going to be walking along. Scorpio with Venus. There's something so beautiful in these 2 cards where the frequency is really talking about somehow your heart's desires hold the key to your portal of re-death. Accept the desires that are within your heart. 1616 is what I'm picking up now. Sigil and Venus. So your life force is this copious loving, this perfect cadence. Rulers, Taurus and Libra. You might want to look at what you have in Taurus, what you have in Libra, to help you to understand your truest heart's desires to move forwards. So we have a strong energy of Mars and we have a strong energy here of Pluto. This is the first full moon release this year where Pluto has now reached 0 degrees of Aquarius. This is big transformative energy, intensifying emotions. The Mona Hieroglyphica is talking about being wise, being certified not in your insanity, but certified in your clarity. I can see clearly now. Feeling learned and sensible. This is the wisdom that's coming. Look, we talk about full moons as being energies of release, and yes they are, and with house 12 being present in this reading with that on core magic, house 12, there's a really strong energy here of absolutely being in the right frequency. But to me, both full moons and new moons are phases that are about re-death and birth. In both cases, you don't get how do I want to say this? It's like you've got the Libra balance. You know, if you want the cups to change, you've got to take something out to put something in the other cup to make room for transformation, for a transition. And that's really what you're working on here, a unity cosmos, a masterclass in wisdom, no longer feeling foolhardy. It's got this energy of the demiurge. So it's understanding your bête noirs. Your bête noirs are aspects of self which hinder us, which create mountains, which create blockages. And you're moving past those. I just got to say 1616 again, because that's very important. And also 1212, because 75 on the Mona Hieroglyphica is 12 and it's house 12. So you've got a 1212 frequency here, drenched in knowledge you'd never wield. So you're going to be given some kind of profound new sacred wisdom, some arcana, but it's knowledge you would use wisely. So there is this wisdom card, this kind of sense of growing in power, transforming something. Moon in Scorpio is to do with whether you're selfless or selfish. Are you trying all the time to appear mysterious, an agent provocateur? There's a lot of French on this card. I would say focusing on, in any meditation, on whale songs, sacred wisdom, secret arcana coming through to you through the whale spirits, through the music, Syrian energy in many ways. I would say one of the energies that it's saying to release is the intense fear of betrayal. If you fear being betrayed, then that's the energy you're calling towards you. You will be. Self-fulfilling prophecies. So we have this frequency here with Venus, this copious loving, this higher heart consciousness energy, of it being something that strengthens your heart. A soul consciousness, copper, the giver of goodness. Believe in the goodness within the frequency of your higher heart. I am compassionate. I am uncaring. Have a think about moments where you might call yourself uncaring, but try and work out the difference between the things that you need to experience and the things that are your truest heart's compassion. So there's a frequency here, a greedy neediness. that can set in around the notion of your heart's desires. Why do you believe that you're not entitled to your desires? Of course you are. You're a spiritual being. You're entitled to the things that your heart desires. Or Source, Poi Poi, wouldn't have put those desires in your heart. This is the chalice of loving. That's the crucible of creation. The crocus of Venus is the next step up from this. Well, there's also, that's interesting, Sappho, which is to do with speaking it. So there's many aspects of divine feminine working through here. It's almost so I'm being kind of told that there are 3 stages, which we know there are: raw, emotional, and divine. And although there's something here which would be the single Venus symbol being raw, being the desires that we have, I'm being told that they're still divine. Even the raw feminine is divine feminine. The emotional feminine, the sensualness that comes with Sappho, is still divine feminine. And then the crocus of Venus, which is again 2 Venus symbols, but built in a different way, created from a different structure, is divine in its own sort of original setting. But there's something where we need to accept the divinity of things that we're told are in error. They're still divine. All that we do is divine. We have to tune ourselves to start considering it in that way. So the first 2 Liffruma cards that we have, Wickerkraft and Livsgade, immediately there was this sense of sitting and absorbing the light of this sacred Monas hieroglyphica frequency coming in. It's a stillness. It's like working with it daily, sitting daily in that copious loving, that perfect cadence, that energy that's freeing you from your dark beasts that you punish yourself with, and this slowly cradling you in a greater expanse, but also grounding you. This is a frequency with this moon that you can use as an opportunity to ground you. I mean, the Wickercraft card has a vulva, which are the female shaman in Old Norse mythology. I'm being drawn particularly to the fact that she has her staff. It might be that you want to try and find, you may already have a staff or a wand, a stick, a piece of wood that you can hold in your hands as you sit and bask in this perfect cadence of copious loving. Use that, because you have Leafshade, you have this energy of the leaf, the forest, the shade. Look, shading in a tree, often we think about the notion of a dark woodlands, and our fairy stories tell us to have some kind of fear of being out in the woods. But when you're in a really hot country, like when I was in Mexico on my birthday and I visited Mayapan, the forest was the place you wanted to be. In the shade was the coolness that could bring you comfort. It was like nature's air conditioning. But I want to say here it's coming across as nature's love conditioning. It's the space in which you can best translate, interpret, understand beneath the canopy of trees. It might just be really important to you. Let the sunshine in, which is song 3. But that energy of waiting for the moment to let the life force, to let the love come in to your frequency, but to contemplate it within the shaded, cradled beauty of the canopy of trees. Next we have Embers, Rot, and Scorpio. So Sun in Scorpio here, and this is deep X-ray diving. Embers is a wonderful card. It's very much the stellar nursery where new things are created. This is a point where we're looking at the fact that for the next 20 years, Pluto will be in Aquarius. So this really is a doorway, this full moon towards the new moon in Aquarius, that's bringing a new opportunity, a new stellar creation, a new space in which we want to move forwards for our new future that we're creating. But to do that, you've got to use the energy of rot. You've got to decompose old patterns. This is the Dance Macabre, and I was very tempted to put that in the music list. But you can separately look at that. It's not quite the piece, but it's the idea of the Dance Macabre, because you've got Scorpio with the sun, and you've got Scorpio with the moon. You've got this real energy of the portal of redeath and birth, bringing something new towards you. But to do that, you've got to renew the nutrients for the next 20 years. This is shedding your soul skin, moral burials, and a new tune. So I am cosmic. I am energized. I am peace. That's a beautiful phrase to focus on. Cosmic, energized peace. That really is that frequency of the Wickercraft and the Leaf Shade. That's what you're doing when you're sitting there. You're receiving cosmic, peaceful love that can amass inside your cells. So Embers also contains star creation, galactic glimmers, and birth. So you really are being given this message here that it's down to you to rot away, to decompose your old patterns, and then absorb that pain, release that pain to the natural world, and birth yourself anew. And then you're ending with the most wonderful frequency here from the Liffruma deck with Theo and Un, win. So this idea of the bliss of wealth, a wealth of bliss, was also very struck because of it being 1/8. 1/8 is Mars. It's like this is the chance for you to accept that you've won the war with one. Because your war with one was the last 20 years. It was a tough energy. And now you're moving to a receptivity, but with an action of Mars. What's interesting is we have Venus, we have Mars. Now, the crocus of Mars, the crocus of Venus, they're the two energies where we balance those frequencies. But they're almost like they're hidden slightly from you here. They're coming in their singular, rawest form, and yet they're offering you the notion of absolute divine enhancement. So it's a truly gorgeous energy. It really is. So I'm now going to do an extended version with a napkin, 4 more cards. That will be over on the SoundCloud, because I'm trying to encourage you all to listen to some readings, because sometimes when we close our eyes and stop looking at the visuals, we actually hear messages in a different way, because we create the visuals within our own mind. So the link to the SoundCloud will be in the description box. Click more under the title. It will open and it will show you how to click on a link and get to the extended version over on SoundCloud. So that's your reading, pile 1, beautiful people. And I'll see you. I've got a really exciting thing. I'm going to pick a song next week. I'm very excited about it, but I'm trying not to get too involved in it, because I just want to dance to music and sing music today. And really I need to focus on these readings or I'll never get them done. So, Wassail. Were you drawn towards the reading with Jupiter and towardness, which is the future norn, Scald? There's always a youthfulness that comes with Scald. She's the youngest because the future, in theory, in this physical space is unwritten. Interdimensionally, it's already done and dusted. So this is Sagittarius and Pisces energy because Jupiter rules both. This is the great cleanser, and this is also the symphonic pedal organ. And this was where the songs came in immediately. So I could hear the crashing orchestra and organ at the beginning of the third movement of Saint-Saëns Symphony No. 3, the Organ Symphony. It's worth having a listen to. It's a huge, triumphant, harmonic battle between a kind of C major and G major, and the wonderful rhythms, the searing brass. It's an absolutely inspiring piece. When I was very young, I used to imagine what it would be like to conduct that piece, and every time I got to the end of the thought process, it would almost be like a sense of dying. And I find that fascinating because within your reading, you do have Pluto. We'll come to Pluto later, but it is very important for us to just point out at the moment that in 2021, you see, the 12th of 21, when I was first working on these, I noticed that time. So the 21st of the 12th, 2020 was when Saturn and Jupiter had its great mutation into air. And that was at 0 degrees of Aquarius. And that's where Pluto is now. It's just arriving there for the second time. It did it last year, March, April, and then in May it started to retrograde out. It's back for most of this year, just 3 months, and then it will be at the end of the year, sort of October, November time, and then it will be in Aquarius in this great mutation frequency for 20 years. This is big, transformative energy that we're working with here. So aligning the vast flow, expansive healing, great fortune, and a connection to higher astral realms. I am vast or I am tiny. So this is an energy where Jupiter's going to be kind of ramping up that notion of making us all understand that we're much bigger than the box we've molded ourselves into. We're going to take the box, we're going to get out of the box, we're going to throw the box away and begin to build a new frequency for ourselves. Orbit of 12 years, that's how long it takes. So currently Jupiter's in Taurus with Uranus, Gaia. I'm seeing here, seeing an astral being who feels like there's a shape-shifting, transformative energy. There's something that's a little bit of having lived the life of being human and animal and transforming between, like a kind of, in the story of Monkey, The Journey Out West, there's a character called Pigsy who lived in heaven and then did something wrong through a sense of greed and was being punished. I think that that's an energy that is being cleansed from you. The energy in which we punish ourselves, 2020, 12, 21 in the orbits, there's something really relevant about that transformation. So there's something within the last 20 years that has had you disassociating your emotions from your life, from you, feeling numb, being unaligned with all your energies, feeling quite distorted. And now is the time to reevaluate how you see yourself, because Jupiter's bringing an open-heartedness, a joyous expansion. This is the sky god of cosmic order and laws. And in sound healing, G, which is its note, is the energy wings. They're a kind of incoming frequency from Jupiter that spins around the sides of our body, rotating, and all our other energies pass through and are cleansed by Jupiter's presence. So that's really what you're looking at here, is a huge cleansing of energies. So we open this reading with Mercury and Compose, the silver-tongued reprogramming, the snake charmer's flute studying technique. So immediately there is this sense of not rushing. Don't rush this situation. There's something here that needs to take its time. So this is House 9. House 9 is obviously ruled by Jupiter, in the sense of ruling Sagittarius. So here again, the Compose, the House 9, which is expansion, Jupiter is the great expander. It's the symphonic pedal organ. And that's what you'll hear in that Sun Organ Symphony. Just the vastness of the voice, of the frequency of the organ, the pipe work. And when we're looking at this Mercury, the snake charmer's energy, if you just expand and don't imagine you only have the one snake charmer's flute, but you have the entire symphonic pedal organ, you can outsing an orchestra. You can outplay, you can be big. And so that's this really expansive energy to reprogram. Studying techniques is preparing yourself. So, channeling is the new mindfulness. Sit down and channel notions about the life you would like to live within the next 20-year cycle. And that's what I mean about the slowness of this. There is no rush. There's time to take it all in, to voice what you need. Fresh air de coeur. So new songs of the heart, a mental relocation, expanding. So I'm seeing a glass eel, and the eel is allowing a shark to leave its mouth. The eel is like a snake opening up. So instead of swallowing something, this is releasing something, reprogramming your inner frequencies. Your inner ghosts are being reprogrammed here. What else am I seeing in these cards? I'm seeing an energy of of physical movement. Part of this process is to, it's almost like meditating while dancing. There's something about the need for movement to ground your energy, to not just sit there waiting for your thoughts to absorb through your body. There's something about the energy of shaking atoms taking place. Then we have 3 rune cards from Liffruma. Really fascinating. We have Nide, which is the shadows and the nutrients, the war rune. It's almost like coming out of war mode. So now they're talking to me about the calends of March and the calends of October. So this is almost like the calends of October for us. This is the energy as we move through this transition with Pluto moving into Aquarius, where we let go of the soldier, we let go of the war, we let go of all those energies. So in ancient Rome, on the 1st of March, they would have a ritual, a ceremony where all the men who were going to be part of a fighting troop, soldiers, would go through a ceremony where they would call in the god Mars so that they were in the right frequency to be warriors. But then on the calends of October, they did a similar ceremony to release the energy, that shark energy that I saw coming out of the eel's mouth. And that's when they would become the carers, the harvesters. So they would turn themselves back into farmers. And that's the energy I'm getting here. The war is won, because it's time to move from that frequency and transfer the shadows of war into the nutrients of life. And that's fascinating because it's followed by Ken. Ken is the divine spark. And there's something here about each of the seeds of the nutrients are the sparks waiting to be ignited. And with Perth, you have that energy of the cosmic surge, the energy of the pear tree. So it's not the seeds, it's not the growth into the roots, it's not the growth of the trunk and the branches and the leaves. It's the abundance of the harvest. Now is the time to harvest some new frequency in your life. You're being given this new option. Again, that piece of music, the Sanson Symphony No. 3, third movement, it's got that huge battle. And by the end, yes, there's something deeply exhaustive about having been through that tussle. And that's kind of what you want to be releasing with this moon that's taking place. Setting new intentions into your earth. I'm seeing, as I'm looking at that, I'm thinking how we've got spirit and make. Make is environmental wisdom. It's the cutting clicks of the claves. It's the lower heart. Here we're dealing with how we react to the world around us. So this is the well-tempered warrior, not the bad-tempered, not the bad-tempered warrior that went out and fought battles and killed other humans for achievement. This is the well-tempered warrior. Cosmic egg hunting, ancestor tributes. Now that's the first card where you've got this echo of ancestors that's coming up later in Eggerschelmur, but we'll come to that. But there's an importance placed here in how you look at ancestral coding within you. So this is an orbit of 360. Oh, there's the beauty of it. So I will show you these two together. So Make, orbit of 306 years. Egel Shamir, the ancestors standing around you in a ring, singing opportunities to you for a new energy. That's card 36, the wheel shield. So you've got that idea, seeking cosmic egg hunting. There is the 0, 306 years. The 0 is the cosmic egg in between. So this would feel as though it's currently an energy that's coming around after a very, very, very long time. Let me just check something. I think Make is still in Libra. But it might be, 10 degrees of Libra. So Make is the Rapa Nui god of creation. And the cosmic egg hunting was, years ago, they would have a competition. Oh, you see, and then that's tying in with this Mars energy of the winning warrior. Because it is about standing victorious. So they would dive into the sea, into the ocean, and they would swim across to the island where all the birds nested. And each person had to gather an egg, swim back, climb a cliff, and the first one back with an unbroken egg became the channel for the spiritual endeavors of the community. And that's really coming up in the frequency of these two cards, Spirit and Pluto. So the idea of this wonderful liberation from material havoc, a peaceful spirituality, the well-tempered warrior, self-actualized salvation, the Heavenly Harp Ensemble, identifying and seeing all the stuckness in the shadows around you. Remember Pluto, as I said, it's important to remember Pluto's now at the 0 degrees of Aquarius, which is where the stellium tear began back in 2021. I think it was the 11th of February, and there was the moon just drifted by Saturn, Jupiter, Venus, a whole series of planets, and it moved and it left an energetic tear. Pluto's finally got there. So this is about something renewed coming in. I am spirit, or I am matter, or I am both spirit and both matter. That's part of what you need to understand within yourself, that you are both spirit and you are both physical matter. You are the incarnation currently in the physical world of your cosmic consciousness. I am tempered, or I am wild. So this is a chance to settle into something that fits your body, fits your emotions, fits your thoughts. It's like the skin you are meant to be in. And I am returned, or I am buried. Because buried deep within you, within the war rune, within the nutrients, is the truth of you. That's your Pluto frequency. A soft timpani roll, just underneath everything, a low, slow bass vibration rolling. And it's talking about dormant ice volcanoes beckoning. Diamagnetic prospecting. So diamagnetism is when you resist the pull of certain things that are just trying to draw you towards you. You can suddenly change your atomic frequency so that you're not drawn to the old Capricorn, Pluto in Capricorn. This is about stepping through into a new frequency and being victorious, troweling the wrong crustal debris. It's like during the age of Earth, prior to 2020, when all the Saturn and Jupiter conjunctions were taking place in Earth signs, the whole Earth, the whole experience was so dense, it wouldn't matter how hard you tried to dig into your ancestral reverberations, you just couldn't find you. Now that changes. Now that transforms. And this card here, Knarfa, with Egil Shamir, Knarfa is changing the tune. The old ways in which blood songs have been sung is over. The old ways are over. That 20-year cycle is over. Acknowledge that. Those tunes, those rites of passage to hunt and own, to be blood-scented, has died and drained away. Yet these rituals still drive and pump in the veins of many, and must be sung once more to end it. Cry and scream and rip ruptured traditions asunder. Nothing is forever. Forge room for your new cosmic tune. And here, with the Egil Shamir card, is that sense of your ancestors in a ring around you. They're willing you to move from the frequencies that frustrated them. They're willing for you to tune into their historic joys, the other side of the energy of ancestor, the other frequency that exists within our DNA. Allow that to be the Perth energy that's coming in to greet you, to make you move into a new frequency. So I'm going to continue to pull 4 more cards, a little napkin, as an extended part on this reading. That'll be over on SoundCloud. The link will be in the description box if you press the More button just underneath the title. And then you can connect and get the last little glimmers from this message. So I'll see you. So, were you drawn to Moon in Leo? It is a full moon in Leo, so the fact that this card came out really made me smile a great deal. And it came out with Hell. And Hell is the returning light. She's a little Lilith in her frequency. And she lived in the darkness neath the Yggdrasil tree, and all the souls that didn't die in battle lived in Helheimir with Hel. Hel had access to all the 9 realms, so there is an energy of freedom within this, but there's a huge energy coming through of the need to retune. And Moon in Leo is explosive, creative inspiration, to be in tune, to recognize the light of your inner brilliance. And it also obviously connects very strongly with the sun and the moon. So, because Leo is ruled by the sun, and then this is the moon in Leo, so the moon and the sun in the same place. Which is interesting because obviously a full moon is when they're opposite each other. But the whole point of opposition is that there's something quantumly entangled that's an opportunity in that opposition to bring two things together into a conjunction. And that's this energy of returning your light, returning the Hell energy, a 13 frequency. So, I am harmonious or I am dissonant. You have to recognize what it is to be both those things to decide how you move your energy forwards. So dissonance has got that frequency of the validation vampire, where you go around all the time trying to drain people for validations, trying to fish energy from them so that they can big you up. Big yourself up. That's the important part here. Don't feel that you have to be in control of everything, because that's a very strong frequency here of being in control of your emotions. Let your emotions wobble. Let them be all over the place, because you've got 2 cards coming up and we'll explain that in a minute, but it's really important. So you're moving towards being elegantly dignified, comfortingly playful and gentle, incorruptible sincerity, and the orchestrator of justice. That's the energy that you're working on here, shining, excuse me, shining with a new emotional light from within. So, we open with the musical Alchemy of Astrology cards, a lot of houses. All 3 cards represent a house. There's something about this 3, 11, 2, or 66, 74, 65, but there's something about the energy of a coding, of moving the order of things around. Something's not in the right place. So we've got thoughts, humanity, and values. And somehow they're in the wrong order. So thoughts, which is house 3 or column 3 as I often call them, because I'm trying to show that these are not quite the same as the houses, but they're columns that you work on with your other self, your higher self, your elven self. This is distillation. This is the energy of looking at your psychological immune system. How strong is your psychological immune system? Never mind your body's immune system. Think at the moment about how easily do you allow yourself to be wounded? How easily do you allow others to trigger things within you? So there's an energy here of that sense of storming off, over dramatically storming off. That's a frequency that's being triggered in you still, because it's part of the energy of the last 20 years. Filter. So you're distilling something, and that isn't enough. You still got to somehow filter out the psychically sensitive truths, the soft mallet marimba, treading on eggshells. And here on the rusted card, It's the shell to crack free from. You can't be walking around treading on eggshells if you haven't broken out of the egg that you're sealed inside. So this is what I mean about this sense of reordering the cards, moving them around, working out your thoughts on your values and how you fit within humanity. There's something here about how you're thinking about humanity and your values are separate. You've got to reorder this. It's got to be moved. So, I am enriched or I am diluted. How far are you on each of those polarities? You have to be both. You have to be able to understand what it is to be diluted and what it is to be enriched, to be concentrated, to have a focused, intentional creativity. Can you decant your old truths of the last 20 years to create new truths to serve you for the next 20 years? I am certain, I am nebulous. How cloudy are you? How much are you just dribbling rain down on the earth and not really thinking about that rain moving into the earth to fertilize seeds and to create growth? Because that's the energy I'm feeling here for you. So, do you feel like you only join in with groups that you can control? There was another one about control. Yeah, the moon in Leo has the energy of being controlling. So that's what you like. You've got to filter that out. You've got to clear that channel. You've got to separate that notion to remove it. Sense the bigger picture. Sense the bigger picture moving forwards. And that's interesting. We're coming to it in a minute, but there's Hangatru, which is reviewing. So this is the humming of the hive mind. The erudite pleasures from the company of others. Because you're letting the others be themselves. So then you're gaining more from the experience of being with them. And then rusted. This calcified coating. It's time for the B-side. Turn the record over. You've been listening to that old tune now over and over again. Don't forget to go and listen to Let the Sunshine In by the Fifth Dimension, because that came through with this reading. You got to let the sunshine in to you. And it's interesting because it's moon in Leo. They're opposite. There's enough space between these two quantum entangled realities for you to begin to let your sunshine in, not somebody else's, but yours. So the aged, tarnished patterner, the old you need to crack out of that shell. It's your masked persona. This version of you're presenting to the world is not your real truth. It's the version you've got used to get through the day easier because there was a lot of grief arising all the time. You've got to push past that. You've got to move into a new frequency. Turn your rust into gold. That's the way forwards here. Be restored. Don't be corroded anymore. It's about polishing. Don't hoard. Don't have possessions of status. And there's a smugness within your shell that all people reap what they sow. That's the wrong way to be looking at this. You need to be freely showering yourself and your world in wonders. Sharing all from your caring cornucopia. To be altruistic. So have a little think of that. Then from the Liffruma deck we have Hangatru and Oak. So here we have 75. Why is that number sticking out to me? Oh, 57 semi-sextile. There is a cosmic mirror coming later. So what am I getting here on 2575? Well, the fact that they total 100, and that's always the energy of a completion and a new beginning. But you need to review your life. You need to hang and work out what it is with this moon that you need to release to make room for a new tune. You've got to find a way to feel restored. Review yourself. Work out what it is that you want from your life, and then that support can help you to grow. There's something here about hanging on a gallows, suspended. So there's a frequency that came to me when I was in Romania that's to do with the Hanged Man. And this card is a 12. It is a card of the Hanged Man, where we read the Hanged Man wrong. We do look at it like a review, and that is part of it. But the truth behind the Hanged Man is the Hanged Man upside down is your spirit self, your higher self, your elven self, whatever you call it, hanging on a thread of divine consciousness. And we're always being told to humbly reach up towards our higher self, as we call it so often. And I don't like that word, because it's not higher as such, it's other. And instead of reaching up to it and trying to reach up through that to reach to divine source frequency, you're being asked to remember in this review, you are divine. You are an aspect of source. And so you need to remember that you are part of source, and that your other self, your elven self, your spirit self, is another layer of source, and come down from source with source into your spirit self, and then enter your human self. Stop reaching up and reach down to you with the energy of the divine support that the oak tree is giving you. And then we have Neptune and semi-sextile. Neptune is ancestral reverberations. So if you're only coming into life and looking at life from a human perspective, reaching up for the divine, you are fully trapped within the catchment frequency of your ancestral reverberations as DNA, draining you with delusions. There's an orbit of 165 years. It's also an early music ensemble, because it reaches all the way back to the first sounds that humans made in physical human world on Earth. That's the frequency here. So this is your adrenal system. This is D sharp E flat. This is the Neptune energy that cleanses. Neptune's currently in Pisces. Neptune will go into a conjunction with Saturn on the 20-something of February 2026 at 0 degrees of Aries. Remember, today we're working on this energy here. 0 degrees of Aquarius is where Pluto currently is, and that's a really important energy as we're moving to this cosmic reset globally on a collective frequency. And so we're looking at being clogged or hydrated. We're looking at whether you exist in a genetic gloom of your ancestral reverberations. Are you battling to claim astral sovereignty in your dream realm? Are you running into the energies of ancestor frequencies that have left their mark in your astral? Your dreams being dictated to by their memories. That has to change. You have to clean that out. There's a sense of renal distress, locking energies in your body, not allowing things to flow freely. So try and connect with the oceanic cosmic realms. That's what Neptune represents. It's like your other self, your elven self, your spirit self is in all the moisture. It's in the oceans, it's in the rain, it's in the water you drink, it's in the urine you pass. All of those memories of something other are within the water realms, and they're all around you and they're all accessible. They are the inspirational mysticism that's surrounding you. Aquatic, akashic remembrances, tuning in to the emotions of water. We breathe water in the air. This is about acknowledging that this Neptune energy is present in everything on Earth. It's the suit of cups in the tarot. So you're looking at refreshing your watery springs, but you also need to have the memory of the salty oceans, and that's the important part. A human has the same salinity as the ocean. We need to remember that, because salt's really important in spiritual journeys for materialization. We are materialized, and therefore we have salt about us. Semisextile. This is talking about this cosmic mirror with Hengatru, the pathway out when you review you, when you turn your gallows into a budding personal Yggdrasil tree, when you allow your gallows, rather than being cut down wood, but being living wood from which you can grow new experiences. It doesn't matter what was in your life that you feel you ought to hang yourself from a tree from. It's time to actually reach into that energy and be a higher dimensional being and move your frequency on to transform things. This is the Zabek, the Anatolian folk dance, ancient Greek folk dancing melody. Then your last three cards in this Liffruma deck, you've got Gunungagap, the beginnings, the birthing of something brand new, the void opening to deliver you a new frequency, a new message. You've got Yo, the 13th frequency card, absolutely beautiful, sacral energy, plumping growth back up. So within that card there is this frequency where the trunk has rotted, the trunk has died, and yet from within the yew tree will pull up this new growth, and it will plump that new growth out and fill all of the insides. It's a most amazing thing. And you have new buds, new forms, new DNA, new possibilities, all opening out to you. It's absolutely gorgeous. Early magic to call out a petaled shout and attract life to its moment in the sun, scented and colour saturated. It's just absolutely beautiful energy moving forwards. I really like this reading. So I'm going to do an extended 4-card napkin reading over on the SoundCloud. The link to it will be in the description box just below here. Press the more button, it will open, and you can go to that link. You can hear the last part of your message moving forward. So, Wassail.